It is Tuesday of the time of this recording, so we're going to talk about some Monday night games that happened this past night. Game number 1, Cincinnati and the Rams. The Bengals won 19-16, but really not an excellent game from anybody on the roster. Joe Burrow, 259 yards, no touchdowns, but 1 interception. Matt Stafford, 270 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. But a big game from Jamar Chase. I shouldn't say nobody played good. 141 yards from Jamar Chase. Probably his best game this season, but no touchdowns on his end. Steve, I know we're only 3 games in, and you and I have talked a lot about other players, the Dolphins in particular, about how, and Tua, 3 games in, let's just relax, all that good stuff. But the Bengals don't look good. The wheels are still rusty. I don't think they're stringing together good plays. I mean, clearly Joe Burrow's health has a large portion, if not the entirety, to do with that. They need Joe Burrow to be excellent to win games, just plain and simple. There is, obviously, we've talked about before on the show, the quarterback is the most important position on the field. As great as their offense is with Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd, Joe Burrow is the engine who runs that offense. So without him, they are not going to be the team that they've been the last 2 seasons. So do you rest Joe Burrow? Like, the question is not, do you rest him, yes or no? The question is that a possibility, or should that be on the table for Cincinnati? Because they have a weird schedule where it's like easy game, hard game, easy game, hard game. And I should have written down who they play next. I don't remember. Maybe the Colts. It's a team that's not that great. So do you think about resting him and try to get him to be a little more healthy so that you can make a deeper run, even though we are so early into this season?
The wagon's not rolling the same if Joe Burrow's not the one that's driving it. I mean, it's just not. So, especially in that division, I think the Bengals are caught between a rock and a hard place. Sure, rest Joe Burrow, and then when he comes back, the fear is you're sitting at the bottom of the division. Okay, do you have a schedule likely enough to help you climb out of that hole?
Right.
So it's hard because you're also in the AFC, which is, as we've said, one of probably the best conference out of the two and the most top heavy.
I was mistaken, by the way. The Bengals play Tennessee. They don't play the Colts. They play Tennessee, Arizona, and then Seattle on a 3-game stretch. I think you can rest him, especially the Arizona game. Just kind of get him a day or two just to kind of see how he looks. I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying you absolutely should do that, but I think at this point it's definitely on the table to consider.
It has to be. It has to be because he's already had one leg injury that he sustained that kept him out his rookie season. And now, he's got another injury that's hobbling him around. He just doesn't look himself. I think you can rest Joe Burrow a game or two. But once again, if they fall to 1-4, that's a hole to climb out of. I'm not saying it's not impossible, but
yeah. No, I know what you mean, because then after the Seahawks game, 3 out of 4 games, they have Niners, Bills, and Ravens. I mean, with defenses, especially like Buffalo and the Niners, maybe Joe Burrow has a higher chance of getting the injury, re-aggravated or becoming worse if he gets hit in one of those games. And you want him to be at your best. But you drew me a good point, though. If you slide in that little stretch, then you have that tougher stretch. How you get out of it? Man, it's a bummer of a situation out there in Cincinnati, but they'll figure it out.
That's a lot of expectation to expect him to come back 1-4 and go and
beat
3 out of those teams to bring him back to 500.
Man, it's so hard. It's so hard, yeah. But 19-16, the Bengals squeak out of that one against the LA Rams.
On the other side of the ball, Cam, I have a question for you. What happened to the Super Bowl Rams? What happened to, they lose Jalen Ramsey, Cooper Kupp's hurt. But outside of that, I can't name big pieces that they lost off of that Super Bowl team. And Matt Stafford's back, and he's throwing for almost 300 yards a game right now. Like, what happened to those Super Bowl Rams? Or was that a fluke?
I don't know if I have a straight answer. It's weird. I mean, we've heard of Super Bowl hangovers, so last season didn't seem that strange to me. But with Cooper Kupp being hurt, And maybe Matt Stafford's older. Not that he's a bad quarterback, but maybe just not good enough anymore to be at the high level winning you need. And as great an all-time great player that Aaron Donald is, defense isn't going to win you games. Well, I shouldn't say having your best player on defense isn't a great way to win games and get back to that status or that caliber. And the other Monday night game, one that I was much more interested in, and Steve for that matter, the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 25-11. It's almost like there was a couple guys on the internet who said that Tampa Bay might be pretty good. Now, they didn't play great last night, but they played against the Eagles. I mean, what are you going to do? Jalen Hurts, his stats are going to mislead you if you didn't watch the game. 23 for 37, 277 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. And the picks were bad. The picks were very, very bad picks. Baker Mayfield did not play great. 146 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. I think the rain had a lot to do with, not just Baker, Jalen Hurts too. All the players really, you could tell the rain was affecting them. DeAndre Swift, 130 yards. A.J. Brown, 131 yards. Who's been lackluster this season, I might say, A.J. Brown, but had a pretty good showing this game. Still no touchdowns for him. I have a visitor. Morty's back, everyone. Say hello, Morty. Okay, thank you. Back to the Eagles. A little bit of a down game for the Eagles, and they are a touchy 3-0. Like, there's been a couple games that we've escaped from. We've won, but in like this game, we've won, but in what kind of fashion? It doesn't look right. I have our first loss coming to the Jets. That was pre-Aaron Rodgers dying, but. Yeah, this Tampa Bay team was in good shape. The Eagles team still in good shape, but I want to see. Wow, that was a great game from Philadelphia. It just hasn't happened yet.
We never said that the Bucs were going to be these deep playoff contenders. Yeah. We never said that they were going to battle for anything, but we did say they were going to win their division. Jalen Hurts, he doesn't look the same as he did last year. He's making some questionable throws in his first 3 games. Those 2 picks last night were bad, and those aren't throws that I've seen him just launch it into double coverage and expect to get away with it. What I think we need to remember is Jalen Hurts has a lot of weight on his shoulders. There's a lot of expectation from this contract that he just signed. And I still think that he's trying to navigate the waters of what is too much and what is not enough. And I think that Jalen Hurts is right now trying to do a little too much. I think he's trying to be a little, some of these throws are risky. And I think that Jalen Hurts needs to give it the old Cam and just pump the brakes.
Pump the brakes, yeah. Let's pump the brakes a little bit.
DeAndre Swift is quickly becoming a top 5 running back in the NFL. DeAndre Swift is starting to show his versatility. He's starting to show the different ways that RPO can hurt you. And I think that that's where the Eagles need to really kind of lean on a little more here in the next couple of weeks. Establish that running game more. Last week, he had 175 yards and 1 touchdown. This week, he's got 130 yards, no touchdowns, but still. And I think that instead of keeping the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands in some of those 3rd down and 4s, let Swift get it for you.
I said when we predicted the Eagles and Dolphins schedules that for any team in the NFL to repeat or even go back to the Super Bowl, you need a special all-time caliber player on your roster. Now, the Eagles have plenty of Hall of Fame guys and plenty of all-time guys, not at the right positions, which I've said before. And you're right. Something just doesn't look right like they were last season, which that happens. Very hard to replicate high-level success in the National Football League. As far as how good DeAndre Swift looks, I agree. He's probably a top 5, arguably top 5 running back in the league. But you know what makes him so good? It's the Eagles' offensive line.
Yep.
I saw a picture today. I'm hoping I can throw it up here right now if I find it when we're done recording. the whole DeAndre Swift has to run through is just like it's insane. And even Jalen Hurts, the line is just so crazy good. And that is where all of the, like I said, the all-time great players are. And that's what's being most successful. But again, we're 3 games in. A lot can happen over the course of this season. I just don't know if they're going to be able to do what they did last year, of just because of how hard it is for any team to do with any players you have. But yeah, DeAndre Swift definitely emerging as a top back in the league. The Eagles, they look good, but they could certainly look better. I think that's the takeaway from this game. And the Bucks, the Bucks look good. I didn't think the Bucks looked that bad at all last night. I really, really, really think the rain messed up both teams pretty heavy.
There was a lot of timely drops by Mike Evans last night that could have really changed the course of that game. I mean, you remember he dropped that ball in the end zone. That changes the way the game's played from that point forward. The rain definitely made an impact on the game, but Mike Evans, I think some of those drops were also uncharacteristic of him. And Baker made good throws.
Baker did make good throws. Baker got pressured a lot, which is Philly's line is just good. But yeah, 25.
Philly's defensive line is
Jalen Carter played great last night. He's special. I love Jalen Carter. Did they ever? Yeah.
You guys have, in my opinion, the best defensive line in football. I don't see teams having success smashing the ball up the middle on you guys.
I don't know if we ever said this on there. Steve and I are going to see the Eagles and Dolphins game in Philadelphia, October 22nd. I'm going to knock on wood. There's a legitimate possibility both these teams go into the Philly undefeated. That would be crazy. That'd be such a good game. I hope it happens. It's going to be a good game regardless.
Shout out to my Fins, 70-20 this Sunday against the Broncos. Second most points all time. First team in NFL history to have 5 passing and 5 rushing touchdowns in one game.
Facts. Yeah, those are our 2 Monday night games and our thoughts about it. Hope you enjoyed. Listen to the sound. I listen to the sound.